פרק ח' משנה ב' האומר לעבדו, צא ושחוט עלי את הפסח. So somebody who comes to his servant and it says, go and bring the sacrifice for all of us. You know, we have 100 people over here. Everybody, you the representative, go. You wouldn't do it yourself. Why? Because usually, who would do it? The servant.
Oh, really?
You're the master.
But I don't understand, Rabbi. You go into the Azara.
Yeah.
You go there, 30 ish, and the Eved go there? העבד יושב, כל העבדים יושבים שם בבית המקדש ועושים את זה?
Yeah, not 30, יכול להיות גם 3,000. Yeah, but yeah.
So each one send his servant?
Think about it.
Probably.
In a regular day.
זה לא הגיוני.
But think about it, in a regular day.
בפסח.
But in a regular day, what would you do?
As far as what?
As far as food. You would send the servant to prepare the food. Also over here, you're sending the servant to prepare the food. Maybe because of Pesach, some people want to do it by themselves because it's a mitzvah. Because of the mitzvah. But in a regular case, that's what we use. You send the servant. So he's preparing the food, not me. What am I doing? It's not my job. He's the cook. What do you want me to do? Yeah. But the problem was, ולפירש לו עם כבש עם גדי עזים משחת. But he didn't tell him, you should bring a sheep or a goat. שהרי נאמר בפסח, because it says in Pesach, מן הכבשים ומן העזים תיקחו. It's both permissible. You're allowed to take a sheep, you're allowed to take a goat. So what happens, שחט גדי עזים, if the servant decided to bring a goat, יאכל רבו ממנו. His master should eat from it. Even though the master says, why you bring me a goat? He says, for the last year, I've been sending you to get sheep every day. You know, you've been sorry, and every day you've been bringing me a sheep. All of a sudden, bring me a goat. So it says maybe because of that, you would say that the master's mind was on a sheep, not in a goat. But it says the master still has to eat. That's his Pesach sacrifice from the goat. יאכל רבו ממנו, אף על פי שרגיל היה בכל שנה לשחוט עלה. Even though every year, I think, every Pesach, maybe it's not every day. Every Pesach you used to bring a sheep. Or the opposite. שחט עלה, he slaughtered a sheep, a כבש, יאכל, then he will eat it. אף על פי שנוהג היה לשחוט גדי, even though that he usually brings a goat. Why? שהואיל ולא פירש לעבדו מה לשחוט. So he says, this is the conclusion. You're not going to say the master had in mind a specific thing, therefore he's not going to be counted on the goat, or therefore he's not going to be counted on the sheep because that's what he thought about. Because that's what you usually bring. It says you're not going to say that because if that's what was in his mind, he should have told him. And since it's permissible to bring a goat and a sheep, when he sent him, in his mind it's okay to bring a goat and a sheep. That's what we're going to assume. Samach al kol ma sheishchat. He's going to rely on everything that he's going to slaughter. Now the slave goes, right? And the slave says, he didn't tell me what to bring. A goat. You know, he goes to the market over there and says, what do you want? A goat or a sheep? He said, I don't know. I don't know. He's not going to go back. It's the 14th of Nisan. It's everybody busy. You know, he's not going to go back, travel. It might be far away. You know, he's not going to go back. So what does he do? The servant is smart. He said, I'm going to bring both. I don't know what the guy wanted. He thinks he's smart. I'm going to bring both. We know there's going to be a problem because you cannot be counted on two. Shachat gdi vetale. So the servant bought both, a sheep and a goat. Varei en adam nimna al shnei pesachim kehad. And now we have the problem. You cannot be counted in two sacrifices. So what do? Ye'achel min harishon. You should eat the first. And here comes the problem. Because before we learned, what do? You burn it. If you don't know, you burn them both. You cannot eat any of them. But now it tells you, in this Mishnah, eat the first. Ma sheshachat rishon, whatever is slaughtered first, v'asheni yisaref, and the second will be burnt. And that's exactly the opposite of what we learned before. So what's going to happen here? So the Gemara asks this question. B'Gemara mevu'ar, in the Gemara it explains, שההלכה זו לא נאמרה אלא במלך ומלכה. It says, if you're a regular person, No, you cannot eat it. This halacha only talks about a king or a queen. It says, why? אבל בשאר בני אדם, but if any other person besides a king and a queen, הדין הוא ששניהם ישרפו. It's like we learned before, that you have to burn them. שכן מובא בברייתא, because the ברייתא brings מעשה במלך ומלכה שאמרו לעבדיהם. There was a case where a king and a queen said to the servants, you have the king, you have the king. צאו ושחטו לנו את הפסח. Now the king and the king did not coordinate. So the king tells the servants, go bring for me a sacrifice. And the queen tells, hey, go bring for us a sacrifice. You know, they didn't coordinate. ויצאו ושחטו לנו שני פסחים. So now two servants run around and bring two sheep. And now the king and the queen says, hey, there's two sheep over here that we were counted on two sheep. What are we going to do? באו ושאלו את המלך. So there's two servants. So we have a problem over here. What is the king going to eat? What is the king? Now we need to burn. So let's ask the king what to do. So they came and they asked the king, hey, there was a mistake. We brought two sheep. What are we going to do? שאלו את המלך. They asked the king. אמר להם, the king said to them, לכו ושאלו את המלכה. Go and ask the queen. Now you would ask, since when is the king is asking the queen? Yeah? But it looks like probably what's happening over here, he's saying the main sender over here is the queen, not me. Because she's responsible for the food at the feasts. So therefore my da'at is subservient to her. Because she's the one who's responsible. Go ask her. If she says it's hers, then it's hers. If she says it's mine, then it's mine. But it's, in other words, she's the one who's going to determine. שאלו את המלכה. באו ושאלו את המלכה. So they came and asked the queen. אמרה להם, he says, what do you want me to make such decisions? I don't know. The king is the boss. The king is the boss, not me. It's whatever is his mind, not whatever is my mind. Yeah, that's what she's telling them. So אמרה להם, so he says, look, if the king tells you, go ask me, and I'm telling you, go ask the king, it's going to go, לכו ושאלו את רבן גמליאל. It says, go and ask Rabban Gamliel. Rabban Gamliel is right over there. Go ask him. באו ושאלו את רבן גמליאל. So the two servants went and asked Rabban Gamliel. אמר להם, so Rabban Gamliel tells them, מלכה ומלך שדעתה קלה עליהם. It says a king and a queen that their da'at is small on them. דעת קלה. What does it mean? דעתם קלה? We see soon what it means. יאכלו מן הראשון. It says they should eat from the first one. But אנחנו לא נאכל לא מן הראשון ולא מן השני. But regular people have to be burnt. So it says, בטעמו של רבן גמליאל, we need to understand, what does it mean when רבן גמליאל says, מלך ומלכה דעתם קלה עליהם. A king and a queen, they have no mind for this. That's what it means. דעתם קלה עליהם. נאמר שני פירושים. So there's two explanations. רש"י מפרש, they couldn't care less. A king and a queen couldn't care less what you bought for them. In other words, they never had... They
are very makpidim.
No. You see the logic. Because they're never involved in food. They don't prepare it. Whatever you give them, whatever the chef puts in front of the king and the queen, that's what they eat. They're not involved. They're not... This is something, excuse me, don't bother me. I'm busy, I've got other things to do. You prepare the food, give it to me. I don't care what it is. As long as it tastes good, you know what I like, you know what I don't like, bring it in. In other words, I'm relying on you. Yeah, exactly. It says, a regular person, when it's a sheep, you know, it's a whole thing. He's going to make, for Pesach, he's going to make all calculation. Exactly. For me, in other words, there's no importance of which one is first, which one is second. Over here, I couldn't care less. Why are you bothering with such things? Do you think I know what you put in front of my plate? Do you think I care? That's your job, not my job. In other words, you're the one who's the decision maker, not me. That's the first explanation. Rashi explains, שסומכים על עבדיהם, that they rely on the servants, ואינם מקפידים על סעודתם. They don't care if they're going to eat a goat or a sheep. It's your job, not my job. What are you telling me? My mind is running the country, not on what's on my plate. אם גדיים או טלאים, they don't care if it's a sheep or a goat. לפיכך יאכלו מן הראשון. Therefore you should eat. In other words, in the king's mind, whatever you put in front of my plate, that's what I eat. I don't have a specific thought. שכיוון שאין הקפדה, יצאו בראשון ידי חובתם. Since they couldn't care less, this is what means דעתם קלה. They don't have a will. For them it doesn't really matter. Yeah? So therefore, whatever you put in my plate, that's what I eat. So the first one that was shechted, that's what I eat. Easy. But a person, for him, it's 3 months' salary, the sheep. No, he's going to think 100 times if it's this sheep, or he's going to check that he wants the fat part over here and that there. It's a whole, for him, he has a specific mindset. I want this one, and not that one. But the king and the queen couldn't care less. והשני לחינם נשחט, and the second was just for, just for. אבל בשאר בני אדם מקפידים, but other people who care, it's a lot of money for them, and they care specifically which one it is. לא יאכלו לא מן הראשון ולא מן השני. They shouldn't eat not from the first and not from the second. שקיים עלן, that we have a rule. אין נמנים על שני פסחים כאחד, we don't count on 2 Pesachs like one. לאכול איזה מהם שירצה, to eat whichever one that you want. שאין ברירה, because you cannot do a ברירה later on, decide which one it is. וכשרוצה לאכול מן הראשון, and when we say, when he wants to eat from the first, אנו אומרים, שמא בשעת שחיטה לא התעדת עליו. He says, maybe you wanted specifically that one. A king and a queen didn't want anything specifically. He said, whatever you put on my plate, that's what I eat. Okay. That's the first explanation. והרמב"ם כותב, and the Rambam writes, it's not because the king and the king couldn't care. It's because if you don't bring the king's...
you don't have a call, but you have to do it.
He's going to shecht you. That's right. That's what the Rambam writes. הרמב"ם כותב משום שלום מלכות. It is because of שלום מלכות.
The king wouldn't shecht you because you did a mistake.
Yeah, but the fear. By the way, I don't understand. Usually, I agree with the Rambam. I don't understand the Rambam's logic. What do you mean Shlom Malchut? You have over here a mitzvah deoraita.
Exactly.
What's Shlom Malchut? Yeah, I also don't understand the Rambam, but let's see, maybe it's going to explain. כלומר, שאם נאמר למלך שלא יאכל כלל, because what is going to be the rule now? The rule now is going to come in front of the king, you can't eat. Wow. That's it, you're done. You can't eat this Pesach.
Next Pesach, no?
Not even Pesach Sheni, because you did the mitzvah. You brought the Pesach sacrifice. You just can't eat it. It's a technicality.
Oh.
I don't even think that he can. It's a good question, but I don't think he's allowed to bring Pesach Sheni, because who's allowed to eat Pesach Sheni? Somebody who didn't do Pesach. You did Pesach Rishon, you just didn't eat it. But you don't let me eat it, so that doesn't matter. It's true that I don't let you eat it, but you did it. You brought the sacrifice. The sacrifice is brought. Who is allowed to bring a Pesach Sheni? Someone who did not bring the sacrifice in Pesach Rishon. You're not eating it because of a technicality, but you brought it.
Not somebody that didn't eat.
That's right.
Bring the korban.
That's right. Exactly. I think that's what it is. And now the king is going to say, "What do you mean? I'm not going to eat Pesach? You want to tell me? I'm going to eat Pesach? Oh,
is that your mistake?
Exactly. That's what the Rambam says. יכעס על עבדו ויהרגנו. It says, I'm going to... the fear is that the king can kill somebody. If he does it or not does it, that's something else. or שמא יכעס על החכמים. Or he might be angry on the sages. שאמרו שלא יאכל כלל משום שאין ברירה. Because the sages said to him, now you can't eat anything. שיעלה על דעתו של מלך, שיש ברירה מן הדין, אלא להקניתו אמרו כן. The king is going to think they're doing it for politics. They're not doing it for this. They're doing it to show me who's the boss. To show me that I'm not all powerful. That's why they're doing it. Actually, I can do it. Yeah, it's a hard Rambam. I agree. I also had a hard time with it. But maybe we can learn that according to the Rambam, it looks like... I'll tell you the story. I'll explain the Rambam. Yeah. I thought about it before, but I'm not sure what I'm going to say now is correct. You remember the story of Tisha B'Av? On Tisha B'Av, Bar Kamsa, if you remember it, went to the king and he told him, the Jews don't bring your sacrifice. Wow. And then when the king sent the sacrifice, he put a blemish in it. And when they put a blemish in it, they wanted to bring the the korban on the altar. So when it says, why do you bring the korban on the altar? How do you allowed to bring a korban on the altar? It's against mitzvah deoraisa. So the sages said you're allowed to. So that's why? Because shlom malchut. Because if you're not going to bring the korban, the king is going to kill all of us. And because of that, sakanat mavet, sakanat nefashot, therefore you're allowed to. So there is such concepts. Yeah. By the way, pikuach nefesh, this. So maybe that's what the Rambam says. But I'm not sure.
Now it's better.
Yeah, now it's better. I thought, because I also had a problem. But I'm not sure that what I said is correct.
No,
I didn't see it anywhere.
It makes sense what you said.
Yeah.
I mean, זה פיקוח נפש, הוא יודע, ברגע שהוא יגיד לו no,
Exactly.
oh,
It's like Putin.
what do you want from me?
Tell Putin he can do something.
Okay.
It's exactly that. Tell Putin he can do something. Go ahead.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same thing. Okay. כסף משנה, וכן הפרש אמירי, מפני שדעתם קלה לכעוס. These guys can immediately take your head off. Yeah. שכח העבד מה אמר לו רבו. Here now comes the problem. The Rav did tell him something. And then the slave comes to the marketplace, and now he says, I forgot what he told me. Did he tell me a goat? I remember he told me something, but I don't remember what he did. So in other words, now if he's going to bring the wrong one, he's in trouble. שכח מה אמר לו רבו, so the servant forgot. In other words, the slave cannot bring two, because it's a regular person, it's not a king. If he brings two now, it's not going to count for a regular person, right? So what is he going to do now? He's stuck. He can't go back home, because by the time he goes back home, that's it. The services are over.
Maybe he can go back home.
He doesn't have time.
Get both, because he doesn't know which one. Or the.
If he gets both...
Go back home, tell him, what did you want? Gdi? Oh, bring the gdi and burn the animal.
Yeah, but if he gets both, he's counted on both. And then you have to burn both. You can't. So what does he do? שכח מה אמר לו רבו, שפירש לו גדי או טלה, אבל העבד שכח, but the servant forgot. So now what, if he's a smart servant, what should he do? כיצד יעשה? So it says, what should he do? So it says, ישחט טלה וגדי. He should sacrifice both a sheep and a goat. So but is it going to be a problem? But he's going to sacrifice on condition. What's the condition? ויאמר, and he's going to say, אם גדי אמר לי רבי, if my master told me it's a goat, גדי שלו וטלה שלי. The goat is his and the sheep is mine. יהיה הגדי בשבילו והטלה בשבילי. ואם טלה אמר לי, and if a sheep he told me, רבי, טלה שלו, the sheep is his and the goat is mine. And the sheep, and now he thinks I'm safe. He's not. Do you know why he's not safe? Because he's a slave. He's not an independent stuff. At the moment he shechts it, at the moment he cannot say the sheep is his and the goat is mine. If the second the goat is his, it becomes whose? It becomes the master's. So how is it going to work? He has to have anyway. So it
belongs to the master, you say.
Yeah, anyway it belongs to the master, exactly. The moment you say it's mine, it's already the master's. So how is it going to work? ואין כאן עניין של ברירה. And now, we're going to see how it's going to work. But first of all, there's no brera over here. There's no retroactive. Why not? שהרי ריבו פירש לו מה לשחוט, because the master told him exactly what to shecht. אלא שהוא אינו יודע, but he doesn't know. בגמרא מבואר, the Gemara explains, שמדובר כאן, but it's not a regular case that he can just say it, because if he says it the way I said it, it's not going to work. בחגון שהולך העבד לרועה של רבו, הרוצה בתקנתו. He says, this servant needs to go to a shepherd that knows what's going on, that wants it to work for the king, or for the master. What does it mean? והלה נותן לו גדי וטלה, and the shepherd, when he gives him the sheep, and the shepherd, when he gives him the goat, the shepherd tells him, shchot shtehem, it says, I'm giving it to you on condition. It's not the slave who makes the condition, because the slave cannot make the condition. It's the shepherd who needs to make the condition.
Which is
Which is an independent entity, even a goy. It doesn't matter. Even a goy. It doesn't belong to the master. But it is possible. It needs to be not the property of the... Shchot shnehem says, so the shepherd tells him, go slaughter both of them, כדי שתשחט כמו שאמר לך רבך. So that you're going to shecht like your master told you. והרי אחד מהם שלך, and I am going to give to you one, I'm giving it to you, I have the power to give you one, on condition that it doesn't belong to the master. Yeah? In other words, if I'm going to give you a present, at the second the present comes into your hand, it belongs to your master. I'm saying it's yours on condition it's not his. And which one is going to be on the condition and is his? The one that he told you not to do. And that's in other words, you have to do it in such a manner. על מנת שאין לחבך רשות בו. On condition that I'm going to give it to you on condition that your master doesn't have any rights in it. שבחגון זה, now, יכול העבד להתנות שאחד מהם בשבילו. Now the slave can say, I can make the condition. Because the condition is not only by him, the guy over there told him that you own it on condition that it's not the master's.
But there is a problem here. How can he take two? It's like he's stealing. It's not his stuff. The shepherd give him a sheep or give him a goat.
The shepherd afterwards going to go to the master and says, give me, look, there was a problem with your zeo. Don't worry. It's okay, I know you're in trouble. Don't worry. I'll talk to your master afterwards. I'll get extra money from him. It's one of those things. Yeah. אבל אם לא כן, but if this is not so, אינו יכול להתנות. The servant by himself cannot make the condition. שהרי מה שקנה עבד קנה רבו, because immediately when he buys it, the master buys it. ונמצאו שניהם של רבו, and then both of them are the masters. Now, the master went and said him, go shecht for me something. Right? The servant forgot. I think that's the case. And the servant comes back with the two that we just said, according to this thing. And then he asks the master, what did you tell me? A sheep or goat? And the master, I don't remember. The master now says, I don't remember. Yeah, he didn't forget from the beginning. Because if he
didn't told him, but the master, the Eved forgot,
yeah,
and then when he came back, the master
I forgot. I forgot. You're right. Gdir, I don't remember. שכח רבו מה אמר לו, so now the master also forgot what he told him. לאחר ששחט העבד את שניהם, after the servant slaughtered both of them, על התנאי האמור, on the condition that we said before, בא ושאל את רבו מה אמר לו לשחוט. So it's which one is yours, which one is mine? Yeah. אבל גם הוא שכח. And now the master also forgot. Now you're stuck. There's no way out. שניהם יוצאים לבית השריפה. Nobody knows what it is. So he shechted it, one of them, and nobody knows, that's it. Both of them goes to burnt. שניהם ישרפו, כלומר לאחר שתועבר צורתם. Like we said before, you cannot burn them because it's kodashim. You have to wait the allotted time until they're not korban anymore. There's a machloket if you can burn them before, but I think the halacha is you have to wait the allotted time and then burn them. ב-16 בניסן, on the 16th of Nisan. And פטורים מלעשות פסח שני, like we said, because he brought the sacrifice. He shechted them already. בגמרא אמרו, לא שנו שפטורים מפסח שני. It says, when are they פטור from the second Pesach? אלא ששכח רבו לאחר זריקת דמם. It says, it's only after the sprinkling of the blood. Because before the sprinkling of the blood, there's no korban Pesach yet. So you can bring in... In other words, you didn't bring the sacrifice. The sprinkling of the blood is the bringing of the sacrifice. But the sprinkling of the blood probably already happened. If he's coming back from Beit HaMikdash with the goat and the thing, it's already happened. שהואילו בשעת הזריקה אפשר היה לברר לשם מי נזרק דמו של כל אחד. Since at the time of the pouring you could have asked for whose sake am I throwing the blood? For your sake or for your master's sake? נמצאת שחיטתו וזריקו כראוי. Then the shchita, the slaughtering and the throwing of the blood was the right way. שהרי בשעת הזריקה ראוי היה לאכילה, because at the time of the זריקה it was permissible to eat. אבל אם שכח רבו לפני זריקת הדם, but if his master forgot before the throwing of the blood, אז לא, הואילו בשעת הזריקה לא היה ראוי לאכילה, nobody could eat it, חייבים לעשות פסח שני. Then yeah, it's like it's being the korban. וכן פסק הרמב"ם, and this is what the Rambam holds. So it looks like he cannot even bring like the question we asked before, he cannot even bring the Pesach Sheni.